Okay, I have painted one more painting. I thought I was done with the winter paintings, with the greeting cards. No, I'm not done with the greeting cards. I'm going to keep doing greeting cards. I'm enjoying them. I bought a whole bunch of them, blank ones, so I'll be painting. But anyway, I needed to do one more as a Christmas card for somebody. So I painted this one. Let me focus in. I finally figured out how to focus on this thing. So there it is, very simple winter landscape, and it didn't take that long to do. And to be honest, it was kind of therapeutic for me to do it because it gave me an opportunity to share with you a fond memory of mine. Today is the day before Christmas. It's Christmas Eve, so we're just packed with fond memories that keep coming out of the woodwork. So I'm going to share one with you as I paint the picture I just showed you right now. Hello, everybody. All right, it's the morning of Christmas Eve, and I really need to do one more card. I thought I had them all done, but I have one more person I need to make a card for. So I'm going to do another winter scene that I don't know. I never want to promise anything because you never say never, right? So we're going to start with, I don't know if you can see the water here. This is just water. And I got just a normal size brush or whatever. There it is. There it is. I'm just going to get the paper wet a little bit. Try to not get it too wet because I have a hair dryer or a blow dryer that'll dry it off. But it doesn't need to be that way. I just want it to spread a little bit. And I want to kind of make a scene where it looks like there's maybe snow over here. And then it goes down into this area here. And maybe there's even some distant things over here. So I'm not sure how to do that, but I'm going to make it wet in that pattern, if that makes sense to you. And you probably can't see it on the picture unless it's reflecting the light that I'm using. Well, so what I want to do is I want to keep it kind of gray. So it's hard to tell what these colors are. So I'm going to show you if you haven't seen a previous video. So these 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. These 12 colors correspond to these 12. Everything else is just because I'm using this sheet of paper as a palette. And all this paint up here is either watercolor or gouache. And the beautiful thing about gouache is that it is reactivatable. It'll reactivate when you hit it with water. But right now, I just want to take this color. This is kind of a light blue gray. And I just want to really kind of create a haze. Just a haze. Like hardly any color at all. Just get it to be very hazy. Just get it to be a mix. I'll pull it down toward the bottom of the area. I always say that art doesn't look good until you're deep into it. Painting pictures, what's the right grammar here? Painting pictures is an exercise, I'm trying to figure out how to say this, in understanding that pretty things don't always start out pretty. How about that? They start out ugly. Maybe not always. And maybe they go through a couple different stages of back and forth between pretty and ugly. I don't know. But I just wanted to kind of get that wet and keep it gray and almost like white. And I want to put some very, 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 very light. I'm going to use the little well here to loosen it up a lot. Let's see how this looks now if I put some distant trees in here. And I just want the water to spread. So I have the look of trees in the distance. And the water will help spread it out so that it looks like it's in the distance. just real gently spread it out. Just spreading it out, and see how when the water causes it to spread. And right now it's kind of hard to tell because there's nothing else to compare it to. But the idea is to create this very, very light background that will be the distant trees. And the haze. Remember that song by Simon and Garfunkel, A Hazy Shade of Winter? A Hazy Shade of Winter? Well, that's what I want, a hazy shade of winter. Yeah, let's just go ahead and put these trees in here. Yeah, it's very hazy. Let me do one more. So now we want that to dry. I'm going to work on the picture in the lower part now. I want to create the illusion of, I'm trying to think if I want a road there. Maybe. If I do it lightly, I can always correct it. Yeah, just a winter road. I went one year. I'll tell you a little story. It was the year 2000, and my son was 14 years old, and it was the day after Christmas in the year 2000, and earlier in the month of December, our dog died. Her name was Mrs. Clute. It was the beginning of December 2000, in the year 2000. And we kind of were brokenhearted. No, not kind of. We were very brokenhearted by the dog dying. And it's a little bit dark here. So anyways, so my son grew up here in Florida, and he had never seen snow. And it was the day after Christmas, and we were still kind of hurting from the dog having passed away almost a month earlier. And I said to my son, his name is Alex, I said, Alex, let's see if we can find snow. Let's see if we can drive north and see how far it takes to find snow. There was no GPS back then. There was no way that I had any knowledge of where snow might be, other than it was winter and heading north might prove to find snow. So we headed north, and we ended up in Boone, North Carolina. I will give you a little information about that. We fell in love with Boone because it ended up that in the years to come, we went there in the summer also. It's a really beautiful little place. And it's funny how many people are familiar with Boone. I had never heard of it before, but at that time we went there in the winter. And so anyway, so back to the story of 2000. So in that year, we went, like I say, to Boone, and we got to a place called Blowing Rock before we got to Boone. And in Blowing Rock, there was snow on the ground. And it wasn't fresh. It was hard snow, but it was still snow, and he had never seen snow before. So I was thinking, well, this is possibly the best we're going to do. And so I stopped the car, and they had a little lookout place there with one of those 25-cent binocular things, you know. And so we went there, and we looked off the side of the mountain, and you got to walk in the hard snow, and it was, you know, a little disappointing because it wasn't the snow that I wanted him to see, but it was better than nothing. And I remember, I think I slipped. Maybe we both slipped because it was so icy. I think we both slipped. So I would have been, let's see, in 2000. I guess I would have been like 45 years old. I was still in pretty good shape. If I slipped, it didn't hurt me that much, I guess. Now, if I slipped, I'd be worried about it. But anyway, so then we kept heading further down the road to see if we could possibly find more snow. I don't know what I was looking for, to be honest. But eventually, it started to get dark, and you know how it gets dark early in the winter. So we stopped at a hotel. Keep in mind, we didn't have much money. And I said to Alex, go inside and see how much they charge. And he came out and he said, $250. And I said, oh my gosh, well, we can't afford that. So we kept driving, and we found another place. And that one on the outside said $25 a night. So I thought, well, that place looks a little scungy. I don't think I want to go there. I don't think that's a good place to go. So we kept driving, and it kept getting darker. And we found another hotel, and I said to him the same thing. Go see what that hotel cost. And he came back out. It was also $250 a night. And I said, let's go back to that $25 hotel. If it doesn't stink, then we'll stay there. That's the only thing I didn't want, was it to be stinky. So we got the room, $25. We went up and checked it out, and it was perfect. It was warm inside. The TV worked in there, and it was a little crazy because they had a Sharpie drawing on the wall of Jesus. Somebody had drawn a picture of Jesus with a Sharpie, like a large drawing, very large. But maybe it was a message to us that we were in good hands, because this place was wonderful. It was warm. The TV worked, and it smelled good, and it was a great place. So we planned to stay the night and then leave in the morning. Well, that night, guess what happened? It snowed. It snowed a lot. I got up. We were on the second floor in the motel. There was only 2 floors. And I looked out the window. I kept looking out the window because, to be honest, I was worried that somebody was going to take our stuff or whatever, break into our car. And it started snowing, so I woke Alex up and I said, Alex, it's snowing. And he got up and looked. And this was his first time seeing snow falling from the sky. And it made me so happy as a dad to know that I was showing him something he had never seen before, and it was going to be a special moment for both of us. I just knew that at that time. Well, the snow kept coming. We went outside because I thought this was going to be a very quick thing. It was going to all melt right away. But we went outside. I think I took a couple of pictures by the car. Well, we went back to sleep, and when we woke up, snow was everywhere. Now, we had planned to leave. So we got in the car. Mr. Big Shot, that's me, figured I could drive in that, no problem. Well, I got out the driveway, and the car did one of those fishtail things, And I thought, well, this is too safe because we're in the mountains. Now keep in mind, at this time I didn't know that the place was called Boone. I didn't know where we were, but that's where we were. We were in Boone. And so I turned the car around. Now we had already returned the key to the room. It was put into a box. Alex put it in the box. So I said to Alex, do you think you could reach your hand into that box and get the key out? We'll stay another night. And he said there was no cover on the box. What? There was no cover on the box, so it was going to be very easy for him to get the key out. Isn't that funny? So he reached his hand in and he pulled out the key. We went back to the room and, of course, decided to spend another night. So when the sun came up, I went to the office and said to the lady we were going to spend another night there. And she said, no problem. And it charged me another $25. And that day I said to somebody, maybe I said to her, is there a place where we can go sleigh riding? Because when I was a kid, that was the one thing I loved to do, was to take a sled down a snowy hill and then go back and forth, you know how you do. And she said, well, there's a ski lodge. Somebody told us there was a ski lodge up there. I think it's still there. I think it's a very popular one, in fact. But I had never been there. So we went to the ski lodge, and I was hoping they could rent a sled. But they didn't. But what they did rent was snowboards. Alex had never been on a snowboard. I don't even think at that point in his life he had done any skateboarding. He maybe did, I don't know. But anyway, so I paid for a 1 hour lesson for him to learn how to snowboard. Just 1 hour. And that 1 hour, he went out with a group of people, the teacher and some other students. And I went into the ski lodge, which was really nice. I was divorced, by the way. It's just so you know this part of the story. And I went to the ski lodge, and the ski lodge had a lot of pretty ladies. Oh my gosh! And they were in their winter, you know, those furry things that ladies like to wear in the winter. Oh my gosh! And there was a fireplace going, and they served hot cocoa or hot chocolate, whatever you call it. I'll tell you what. It was something else. But of course, I'm a dad before I'm a man, at that point especially. So I didn't want to take my eye off of Alex. So I went out onto the porch. I got some hot chocolate. I went out onto the porch. It was freezing. And I watched the people taking the lessons on the ski slope. And by the way, I just used a little bit of blue that was over here on this, just left over from another painting. I just thought I'd add a little bit of color to this. So, let's see. This one is the blue, I think. So I went out onto the porch and I was watching Alex take his snowboard lessons, and they were so small because they were so far away. They looked like little ants on the hill. It was only a 1 hour lesson, so when it was all done, he came back to the ski lodge. And I said, well, do you want to try going down one of the hills? And he did not. He was a little bit nervous about it. So I said, well, there's a beginner's hill over here. And he was nervous about that too. But I talked him into it. And there was a rope that pulled him up to the top, you know, like a ski lift, but it was just a rope. You just hold on to the rope, and it pulled him up to the top. And he went down the hill. I got photographs of him going down the hill. I was so cold. I think I had a ski mask on. I mean, completely covered my face, but I could see, you know. But anyway, after he came down the hill, I was so proud of him. I wanted him to know I was proud of him. And so I ran toward him to say, "Good, you did great, buddy. You look at how good you did. Oh my gosh, you did so good," because he really did do good. I still have that picture, by the way, the one I took of him coming down the hill. Well, I'm a big guy, and these ladies were standing there, and as I'm running toward them, well, really toward Alex, but they happened to be there, they saw me coming with the ski mask on, a big guy running with a ski mask on. Oh my gosh. I saw that they were afraid, and I pulled the mask off. I said, no, I'm just here to see my son. He just went down the hill for the first time. I wanted to let them know that I wasn't to be afraid of. Don't be afraid of me. So that was my story, and this is why I wanted to do this picture, because this sort of reminded me of that time when we went up there, the Blue Ridge Parkway. I don't know if I was on the Blue Ridge Parkway for that particular trip, but it's such a beautiful area. So there we go. So those, see how those look like distant trees now? And these look a little bit more in the foreground. So this is a pretty easy picture. I'm going to use gouache, titanium white gouache. This is going to put some snow on the picture. I'll just put a little bit of gouache onto my makeshift palette. Yeah, that's good enough. And I'll put some snowflakes on here. And anyway, it was a fun trip. And then, okay, I got more to tell you since I'm going to do snowflakes. So the trip was wonderful. And after he went down the hill, I think we stuck around a little bit longer, and we watched other skiers, the more professional, or the more, not professional, but you know what I mean, the more experienced skiers. We watched them come down the hill, the different hills. And I took them to that little ski lodge area too, and we got something to eat, I'm sure. I was always doing that. It's part of my legacy, I think, taking people to eat and eating myself. So anyway, years later, we went on a camping trip. Now this trip, I don't remember what year it was, but it was maybe just a year later. Maybe it was even that summer, I don't know. But we went just driving, again, just kind of at random. And we found this town. And I said to Alex, this looks like that place where we were when it snowed. There's something about the town. Maybe it was the stores or something. I said, this looks like that place we went when it snowed. And again, we didn't know Boone. We were still new to us. Even though we had been there, we went into a snow trip, and we had that great story that I just told you, but I honestly didn't know where we were. Anyway, so it turned out that it was Boone, and in the summer, it had a completely different look. All the grass was green, there was no ski lodge. And then, so what we did is we drove up to the ski lodge, to where it was, because we remembered how to get there. We found the hotel. We didn't stay in it that day. We were camping, but we went up the hill to the ski lodge, and there it was, completely different looking because it was closed, I guess. I didn't see anybody there. When we went in the winter, it was packed with people. But in the summer, it was not packed. It was just there. And we camped that year somewhere either in Boone or near Asheville, North Carolina. Oh, I didn't tell you it was in North Carolina. Those of you who don't know, it was Boone, North Carolina. And we camped there. And I think we went back a third year in the summer. I I've always wanted to go back in the winter. Now my son is an adult. You know, he's 37. And I think he's 37. And he's got a little boy of his own. So maybe they'll be going. Maybe they'll repeat the trip. Maybe they'll repeat the hunt for snow. So, anyway, you think that's enough snowflakes? The reason I'm using gouache instead of watercolor here is because in order to really use watercolor to accomplish what I'm doing here, you have to kind of keep a lot of little spaces white, like the paper would show through. And this is just a 5x7 card, so it's kind of, I have done it. I tried it. But anyway. Alright, well, thank you for watching. I think I'm done. There's really no color to this picture. It's just that blue-gray. But there it is. My memory of trip to Boone. Alright, everybody. It's Christmas Eve. I hope you have a great holiday. I hope you have a great new year. Thank you for watching and for supporting. If I can do a picture that will help you learn how to do things, one of the two things I get asked about the most, well, there's two parts to one of these things, but the two things I get asked about the most is, how do you paint water? Well, water has a couple of different definitions. Do you mean like water in a glass? Do you mean like rough seas? Do you mean ocean waves? Do you mean a pristine reflective lake? See, there's so many things with water, so I will try to cover those. And so that's the one that has multi-levels. So does the next one, really. And the other one is, how do you paint a face? Well, painting a face, there's two different answers to this. Because one is, the question you would ask, does the face have to look like anybody in particular? In other words, do you have to capture a likeness? If you do, this takes time, this takes experience, and I do have a couple of rules of thumb for that. I won't go into them right now, but and then there's, of course, the complexion. How do you get the color so that it looks like the person? If you're doing a portrait, it has to have a likeness. If it doesn't have to have a likeness, if you're just doing like a generic person, you know, somebody walking through the snow or somebody eating at a diner, then yeah, you can have some fun with it, and the person can be anything really. So, all right, kids, thank you for watching. Here's the final picture. It's not dry yet, so I don't want to fold it, and I didn't even need to use my blow dryer. How about that? All right, talk to you later. Bye.